it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, November 18th. So today we will see the moon in Capricorn go void, of course, at 3:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be locking into Aquarian energy at 6:29 a.m. So the transition from Capricorn energy to Aquarius energy is always a welcomed one, considering the fact that when the moon is in Capricorn, we're a little bit heavy, a little bit weighted, we're anchoring into our physical body. We're very aware of our physical circumstances. We were very focused on kind of getting our shit together, creating a little bit of order where there's been chaos, trying to get organized, if you will, especially with our long-term plans, our long-term goals. Now that moon in Capricorn is going to highlight for us the struggles, where it is that we're feeling blocked, where it is that we're feeling restricted, where it is that we're feeling held back from going forward, from making moves, from taking action. When we transit into Aquarian energy, of course, it's an air energy, so we move out of the physical body and we put all of that time, energy, and attention into our thought process. That Aquarian energy, being an air energy, does rule over logic and practicality, does rule over the highest form of our intellect, and we're definitely down to being revealed the bigger, broader picture. Now, where there were struggles and obstacles and challenges illuminated with the moon in Capricorn, the moon in Aquarius is going to attempt to problem solve, free us, liberate us from some of the weight, some of the struggles, some of the conflict that, of course, we became very aware of when the moon was in Capricorn energy. The moon in Aquarius gives us an opportunity to kind of emotionally detach, if you will, so that we can act as the observer. We can kind of see the greater, grander picture, all of the moving pieces, if you will. And not only are we kind of gaining a little bit bigger and broader of a perspective and an understanding of what's going on in our lives and where it is that we're moving away from certain things and where it is that we're gaining distance and proximity closer to new things, but it's also putting us in a situation to see where we can improve, where it is that we can kind of make some progress here, where it is that we can kind of push ourselves along, if you will, on the right path, in the right direction. But a lot of this is mental stimulation. So we may not see a lot of action, but we are definitely going to be downloaded with aha moments, with visions, with dreams, with solutions on where it is that action is needed. Now, considering the fact that the new moon in Scorpio that we just had provided us with the green light go-ahead to start taking action and making moves, especially in these new timelines, these new soul contracts that we just entered into after we closed the door on eclipse season, we've been building in momentum. And what we've been waiting for is something that is going to pop off here today, which of course is the sun conjuncting with Mars. This is Mars's rebirth, his resurrection. We're entering into a brand new 2-year cycle. This is going to give us the physical energy that we've been lacking, the motivation, the inspiration, the determination that we've been lacking. It's going to kind of give us a boost in our confidence, in our optimism, in our warrior type of spirit to actually take action, make moves, and aggress ourselves on the path moving forward, getting us closer to our desires, to our passions, to our goals. So to have this particular aspect kind of pop off, this is the green light go ahead that we've been building towards. The new moon in Scorpio kind of activated the energies when we've been percolating on it. We've been cultivating these energies. And with Mars now in his fresh cycle, we are definitely going to see a lot of forward movement. So there are 10 different aspects taking place today, 8 of them going to involve the moon. We have the sun in Scorpio energy coming up to bumping into conjuncting Mars. Mars is the god of war. He rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger. He's in his rulership in Scorpio energy. This is the conjunction. This is the reset. This is the rebirth, the resurrection, the renewal that we need in order to feel like we are given the green light go ahead to move forward, to take action, to make moves. Now, the interesting part of this is that in Scorpio energy, Mars's rulership, this is about the deep dive that we've been doing, the major change and transformation that we've been pushing ourselves through in our soul, in our spirit. This is going to anchor in a lot of warrior type of spirit to go after our passions, our goals, our dreams, and our visions. And as I've been kind of repeating, you can use passion, excitement, inspiration as a fuel to keep that fire lit within you, or you could use frustration, anger, agitation. And many of us are using that particular fuel because we can't stand the circumstance in which we find ourselves in. So sometimes we need to feel this pressurized system, our back against a wall, this anger, frustration, agitation build in order for us to actually be bold, be brave, be courageous enough to do what we got to do to bust ourselves out of this mess. This is very much the hero journey that we're talking about with the sun conjuncting Mars, reviving us, if you will, bringing new passions to light, bringing new desires to light, and most importantly, giving us the physical energy to actually do all of the things. So this is a very important marker in our calendar, especially seeing as Mars is in his rulership. And again, doesn't happen all the time that, the sun is going to conjunct Mars in his rulership. This is setting the tone for this next 2-year cycle. Having the moon be in Capricorn energy for this particular transit to be taking place or aspect to be taking place is setting us up for our long-term goals, our long-term vision, our long-term dreams. And this is grounding us, giving us a logical, practical approach on how it is that we're going to plan and strategize to actually execute this particular mission that, of course, has been percolating in us and will continue to organically unfold. So again, pay attention. If you're very confused at this state, you don't know if you're coming or going, you don't know what the goal is, you don't know what the target is, continue to really unpack what it is that you're being called away from. That's the most important part. Sometimes in order to figure out where it is that we want to go, we have to figure out where it is that we don't want to stay, what it is that we don't want to deal with in order to conjure up an alternative of what it is that we would prefer to deal with in the place of the things that we just have outgrown. So there's still a lot of revelation that needs to happen. And especially as we close the door on Scorpio season, which we will be doing over the next couple of days and entering into Sag season is going to expose a lot to us. There's new paths, there's new plans, there's new truths, there's new missions, there's new purpose, there's a new adventure, a whole new quest for us to be aligning with. So if you're in the confusion state, don't worry. There's still a lot of the puzzle pieces that need to be dealt to us. But if you do have a firm grasp on what it is that you're actively working towards, then this is going to be the energy to kind of continue to keep those fires lit within you and give you an extra oomph where it is that the physical energy has been lacking, the inspiration, motivation, determination has been lacking, and really instill, again, this warrior type of energy in you so that you can get started and actually start moving forward. The moon in Capricorn going to semi-square Mercury. Okay, so a semi-square is a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict. And of course, the moon is our emotions, our unconscious self, our intuition. Mercury, of course, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information, communication, and how it is that we express ourselves. He's in Sag energy. So again, we're trying to think positive. We're trying to think long-term. We're gaining a lot of momentum. We're trying to conjure up big ideas, big visions, big goals. In communication, we are kind of speaking a little bit more optimistically than we have in the past. We are kind of blunt, straightforward, to the point with our emotions, with our affections. Now, the moon in Capricorn would prefer to stay away from talking about emotions and talking about the feels. And this is why we're having a lot of disconnect, because there's a lot of seriousness, a lot of somberness. We don't get too hyped up, too excited. We don't put all of the eggs in the basket, so to speak, with the moon in Capricorn. And Mercury over here in Sag energy just wants us to just be hyped up, wants us to kind of, gain that momentum, gain that excitement, gain that anticipation. But we can get carried away with that. We can overcommit. We can overdream. We can definitely over-exaggerate our capabilities of actually executing the path and the plan that is required in order to bring some of these big visions, these goals to life. So this is the semi-square. we're conflicted here. Emotionally speaking, we don't want to get too happy-go-lucky, too optimistic, too confident. The moon in Capricorn is like, I don't know. That kind of seems like we're setting ourselves up for future disappointment. Maybe you need to kind of, pull those reins back a little bit, become a little bit more down to earth, logical, practical in what it is that we're actually trying to bite off and accomplish here. And of course, Mercury over there in Sag energy is just a squirrel running off of caffeine. Maybe we could do this. Maybe we could add that. Maybe if we started here, maybe if we did that. Okay. So we're all over the place. And the moon in Capricorn is just trying to get us grounded, trying to anchor us so that we're not kind of buzzing all over the place and we can focus on one thing at a time and actually be productive in coming up with a path, with a plan on how it is that we're going to bring some of these ideas to life. The moon in Capricorn going to come up to, bump into, sit next to Pluto. Pluto is the great transformer. He's in Capricorn energy. This is definitely going to be an intensity that takes over our emotional realm, but I also think it's going to be a boost of power, a boost of control, a boost of just feeling like we definitely have made some progress here, like we understand what the task, what the chore is. We understand what has to be executed first and foremost. And therefore, there is this sense of a weight that comes through the form of responsibility. We want to get started. We want to make sure we do things properly. We don't really want to mess up. So it's that kind of pressure, but it's also very boss-like. It's very empowering. We feel like we have a path. We have a plan. We feel like we have a good idea on what it is that we need to be doing. And so, there is this seriousness, this somberness that comes with the moon in Capricorn, but it's kind of giving us the determination and the focus that we need at this particular point to make a major change and a major transformation, which of course we've been unpacking since the new moon in Scorpio. So it's at this particular point in time, 3:28 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that the moon is going to go void of course. And it's only void for about 3 hours. We lock into Aquarian energy, 6:29 a.m. And approximately about an hour later, we're going to have the moon in Aquarius make a positive interaction with Saturn. So Saturn is the Lord of Karma. He's now direct, but very, very slow moving in this forward motion in Pisces energy. Saturn does rule over the Aquarian energy. Its traditional ruler is Saturn. The modern day ruler is Uranus. So anytime that we're interacting with a ruler of the energy in which the moon is in, there's a little bit more of an intensity there than interacting with a planet that has no connection to the energy in which the moon is currently in. The moon in Aquarius interacting with Saturn in this way, lucky for us, it's a positive interaction, which means that we're already kind of putting a lot of pressure in the mental plane to figure out what it is that we have to set our sights on. Now, Saturn, he likes to bring us down a couple of pegs. He likes us to be logical and practical with our thoughts, with our feelings, with our ideas. He wants us to consider our belief system, our dreams, our visions, our goals, and what needs to be built and created in our lives in order for us to actually be able to support the energy and efforts that we're now going to put into bringing some of these new elements to life. So where Saturn kind of rules over roles and responsibilities and where he rules over structures and foundations, the moon in Aquarius, like I previously mentioned, is now looking to solve the problems that we identified while the moon was in Capricorn energy. So suddenly we have a bigger, broader perspective. We're kind of inviting in new ideas, especially where problem solving is concerned. And because of this interaction, it's almost like, okay, well, where do we need to start? We have a vision, we have a goal, we have a dream, we have a little bit of an idea. Where do we start? What do we need to kind of lay this proper foundation down? What do we need to build? What do we need to create? This is kind of asking the right questions, if you will, in order for us to get very familiarized with where it is that we are growing, we are making progress in the right direction, but we're basically at square one. So this is just trying to get the lay of the land to see what it is that we need to bring to life, what it is that we have to build in our life right now in order to align with the vision, with the dream, with the goals that we're currently kind of being excited to pursue. The moon in Aquarius is then going to make a positive interaction with Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. He is retrograde in Aries energy. And the whole purpose of Chiron being retrograde in Aries energy is to show us where it is within ourselves, where we're still kind of caught up, where we're hooked up on the pain, on the trauma, on who it is that we are, who it is that we had to be. So, for instance, this is a great time for us to identify some mental health issues. Now, do I mean medically depressed or medically suffering from mental health? Well, it could, but I'm talking more about where is the negative narrative? Where is the negative perspective? Where are the limiting beliefs? How do you have a very negative perception of yourself? Because it's these particular thoughts, narratives, ideas that are blocking you from making the kind of progress that your higher self wants you to make. So this is about kind of being more real and raw and aware and vulnerable of identifying the problems that still exist within us, where we're the problem, we're blocking the progress, and seeing what it is that we can do about it. So the moon interacting with Chiron in this way, because it is a positive interaction, this is a time for us to, again, be emotionally detached. Moon in Aquarius removes us from being in those realms of emotions in order for us to see ourselves from a different set of eyes, from a different perspective, from the greater, grander picture, the greater, grander vision. So there's likely some profound insights going to come in order for us to see where it is that we got to knock this crap off. We can't be talking negatively about ourselves. We can't be kind of kicking ourselves when we're down. We can't be the ones that are going to stand in our own way from really being in alignment with our soul's mission, our soul's purpose. So again, we're identifying the problems and we're problem solving. We are coming up with solutions. We're flipping the script. We're making a lot of progress in identifying where it is that we're still kind of hooked up, caught up on some negative programming, and where it is that we have to flip the script into something more positive, something more encouraging. The moon in Aquarius is going to make a positive interaction with Mars. So Mars, this is like his birthday. This is brand new energy for Mars. And having this particular interaction is a beautiful thing because, first of all, Mars being in Scorpio energy, a fixed water sign, is trying to stabilize the passion, the desire, the inspiration, the motivation needed in order to keep that fire lit within us so that we have the boldness, the bravery, the courage to do all the hard things in order to push through the particular challenges, blockages, obstacles at this particular moment in order for us to get what we want, what we need, what we desire. The moon in Aquarius energy, a fixed air sign, is looking to stabilize the mental plane in the right narrative, in the right perspective, in the right understanding on the path moving forward. This is likely going to give us a bigger, greater, grander vision on what it is that we now want to take action upon, what we're going to fight for, where it is that we're going to make some aggressive moves in our physical realm in order to push ourselves further down along the path, and that's going to get us closer to what it is that we want. So this is definitely planning. This is definitely strategy. This is definitely hyping ourselves up. And again, not acting on impulse, which is going to be very hard for a lot of us to do because that urgency to take action, to make moves definitely is there. But without having a proper plan, a proper strategy, there is no point in wasting your time, wasting your energy, wasting your attention. So this is where the moon in Aquarius comes in. This is planning. This is strategizing. And, you know, the Scorpio energy is great doing those particular things as well because we're very meticulous. We don't want to fail. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of control that we're standing in right now, and we don't want to waste it. We don't want to abuse it. And we sure as hell do not want to act out and kind of create situations that aren't for us, all for the sake of just getting this energy out of our bodies. So this is going to work very well for us where gaining insight, information on the path, on the plan, on the strategy to move forward is concerned. Now, just as we've been talking about, sometimes when we're feeling too good, we're too optimistic and we're too hopeful, and we're feeling like we're ready to make a change and we're really in alignment to seeing where it is that we are going to kind of move forward, that dark force energy creeps in and it tries to hold us back. It tries to keep us in a state of fear, a state of paralysis, so that we don't grow, we don't evolve, we don't kind of rise to our potential. This is a great example of that. The moon in Aquarius is going to go ahead after all of these beautiful interactions, after all of this powerful energy building throughout the day, and we are going to square off, get into the boxing ring with Jupiter. So Jupiter is the planet of growth and expansion. He rules over our belief system, the wisdom, the knowledge that we gain from tough love life lessons. He does reward us. He is the planet of abundance, but of course, we only get those rewards after we successfully pass the tough love life lessons. Jupiter is retrograde, so internalizing this particular energy, this attention, this focus within us. And in Taurus energy, this is giving us a good look at ourselves, where it is that we got to grow up, where it is that we have to do a lot more in order for us to reach new levels of self-love, self-worth, self-respect. This is a time for us to really examine how it is that we're feeling within our physical body, feeling within our physical environment, because the major glow up is about to take place when Jupiter goes direct. We have a little bit more time to kind of do this inner reflection on where it is that we have learned some tough love life lessons, where we have to integrate those particular lessons into our being, and where it is now that we have to be very careful with what kind of opportunities we want to create for ourselves. Again, we're in a chapter where it requires us to stand in our creative energy, our creator energy, if you will, and really become a powerful force of really manifesting the life in which we want. We want happiness. We want joy. We want safety. We want security. We want stability. But where in our inner realm do we have to do the work on ourselves in order to boss ourselves up to a level that we're actually able to accept this amount of abundance, accept these amounts of rewards, accept the next karmic chapters coming at us, those next tough love life lessons? We have to do the glow up. We have to do the grow up within. So the moon interacting with Jupiter in this way, a square nonetheless, is highlighting the tension and the conflict. Where the moon in Aquarius energy is very visionary, Jupiter retrograde in Taurus energy is looking back and is very rooted in the present moment. Taurus energy, a fixed earth sign, even if you want to change, even if you want transformation, there is a natural resistance to kind of let go of what it is that you've already created in order to create a space to see what else you can create in the void of the space of the things that you're currently outgrowing and letting go of. So there's a major conflict here. And normally, because Jupiter is so optimistic and confident in a positive aspect, in a negative aspect, such as a square, this is going to over-exaggerate whatever it is that we're thinking, whatever it is that we're feeling. Now, where the moon in Aquarius wants to come up with solutions, there's likely no solutions coming out of this. We're just focusing in on the problems. Well, that is an important part of, creating solutions, is you do have to identify the problems, but the magnification that Jupiter offers us kind of blows things out of proportion, if you will. So we may be just super confused. We may just have a mental blockage, not being able to even think, let alone come up with creative solutions. Nonetheless, there is this over-exaggerated mental and emotional focus on where it is that we're uncomfortable, where we're discontent, where it is that we're feeling stuck. And as important as that is to realize, it does not feel good. Now, we're not going to sit in it for very long. The moon in Aquarius is going to make a positive interaction with the sun. The sun, of course, in the later degrees now of the Scorpio energy. So there's a new awareness coming out of this conflict that we just experienced between the moon and Jupiter. Yes, sitting in the funk doesn't feel good. Yes, being so overwhelmed with confusion, with obstacles, with challenges, with blockages does not feel good. But when you're aware of the problem, then you can start to work on it. You can start to fix it. You can start to solve it. So here you have the Scorpio energy, the detective of the zodiac, doing a deep dive, asking all the right questions in order for us to unearth the shadow parts of the blockages that we've created within ourselves. And you have the moon in Aquarius energy that is trying to emotionally detach us so that we can see the bigger, broader picture. But can we really detach from our emotions in Scorpio season? I think not. So what this is going to do for us is this is going to perk us up a little bit. This is going to put us in a situation where we're having a new emotional awareness on what it is that we want to change, what it is that we need to transform first and foremost within ourselves before we're going to start seeing those particular changes manifest projected in our exterior realm. So this is going to be a powerful revelation within us where our emotions are trying to kind of pull us in a different direction. And because the sun is shining a bright light in Scorpio energy on what it is that we do have to change and transform as far as this current situation and our future circumstances, this is definitely putting us in the right realm to focus on the things that maybe need to be resolved first and foremost before we're going to get freed up to actually start something new. The moon is then going to semi-square, creating a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy in its place of power, very much about our spiritual selves, our dreams, our fears, our illusions and delusions, if you will. The moon interacting with Neptune, this is going to highlight where we are trying to strike a balance between using logic and practicality, which is, scientifically needed by that Aquarian energy that the moon is in, and where it is that we need to be more reliant on our higher selves, our intuition, our emotions, which of course is very Neptune in Pisces energy. So there's kind of like a battle going on within us because we don't know how to bring these two elements together. They're very needed. We can't just be operating on our logical, practical mind space because that would mean that the information and data from our 3D realm is dictating what is possible for us. And if that's the case, then we're very limited on what it is that we're able to do, what it is that we're able to kind of bring to life here in this realm. Now, when we open the door to the universe, to the supernatural, to the metaphysical realm, to our dreams, to our inspiration, to manifesting, to our spirituality, when we open that door, then and incorporate it with the logic and practicality that we need to have in order to make, realistic decisions in life, then we're adding a little bit of magic back into the forum. Then we know if we can strike a balance between our logical, practical mind space and our emotional, intuitive insight, that's how dreams are formed. That's how a vision comes together. That's how we're downloaded with new creative ideas, new life force energy. The last thing that we have going on here today is Mercury in Sag energy, making a semi-square, so a little bit of a tension, a little bit of a conflict with Pluto, the great transformer, who of course is in Capricorn energy. This doesn't feel good. This is going to put a lot of pressure in our mental plane. This is going to put us in a little bit of a skeptical type of mindset. We're really not trusting what it is that we're hearing, what it is that we're seeing, what it is that we're thinking. There's a lot of deception going on. We can become a little bit paranoid. There is a lot of tension, a lot of distress going on in the mental plane. We are kind of dominant in anxious, worry-like situations and scenarios. Now, Pluto, the great transformer, takes us on this little bit of a, I'm going to say, dark trip down memory lane, if you will, and really emphasizes the negative narratives and the paranoia and the skepticism and all of those not so lovely things that our ego just thrives off of. Pluto does this because it gives us an opportunity to reach those low lows so that we can pluck ourselves out of that darkness and build ourselves up to the high highs. But we have to sit in that funk in order to appreciate the light. And so there's a lot of obsession that comes with the Plutonian energy. We fixate on things, especially on the things that we don't have any control over. And we just kind of loop in our mental plane what this problem is. How are we going to fix it? How come I don't have control of it? I'm never going to get out of this. All of these negative narratives kind of take over our mental plane and beat us down. So it is, I'm going to say, a darker shift, especially late in the day, right before we move into dreamland, that I'm sure will reveal some cryptic type of messages in our dream state. But what this does is this helps us get to the bottom of the truth. It helps us get to the bottom of the problem. It peels back the hidden layers of why we're thinking and feeling such things. And then when we become aware of it, we can change it, we can transform it into something that's going to work for us. And you best believe that Mercury being in this Sag energy, the most optimistic, most confident, most, I'm going to say, excitable energy that you could be in, we are constantly pushing the boundaries of how it is that we can get out of this darkness and constantly be flipping the script into something more positive. So yes, we do have to sit in this intensity. Yes, we do have to become aware of where it is that we're fixated and obsessed with certain problems that we just don't feel like we're in control of or have the ability to fix, in order for us to have some glimmers of hope, some downloads, some aha moments, some epiphanies that will totally change the game.